Carla, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has.
All right, well, we're going to do something a little bit, I guess, new, a little bit quicker. So we're going to do a 5-minute, we're 5K, 5 kids, 5K tennis bits, like 5K tennis tidbits. And we're going to do it quick. So we started doing live shows by podcast during COVID, and we would go on for hours, and we had a pretty good little following there. But post-COVID, we've been pretty busy, and we decided we would do something more quickly and hard-hitting, and then have everyone continue the conversation in comments. So when we're driving, we can communicate. It's hard to do that, teaching lessons and so forth. So this one today, I'm going to try to do this in like 4 or 5 minutes. So I'm going to ask Carla a couple questions that have been not bothering, but I have been pontificating. And I'm gonna discuss those with Carla for about 5 minutes. We're going to stop it no matter what, and then we're going to chat with you guys. And then the next time we do this, we'll do it for another 5 minutes with another question, and then maybe we spend a minute or two on that, and then we answer some of your questions from the last bit. All right? All right. Hard hitting. Here we go. Carla, the first question I have is relatively straightforward. I feel like the past couple of years we've seen a decline in tennis. I'm not saying from us. I think we've been just as busy as always. But we go to tournaments, there's less players. We go to facilities, they're closed now for pickleball. What are some of your thoughts and reasons why this is occurring, and what are some of the things that you can, as a teaching professional, as a mother of 5 children, what are some of the things you think you could do to change that?
As far as tennis dwindling? I think it has. I mean, I think I would say maybe 3 years ago when the kids were playing tournaments, or 2 years ago, when Justin was getting into the tournaments, and then Gabby and Liliana were playing tournaments. There were a lot of people playing, a lot of kids, a lot of juniors playing. Now, when we sign them up for tournaments, there's 20 to 30, we're lucky, right? And then as far as people getting involved in tennis, you see these big facilities really empty. You don't see too many people there. I think the reason why is it's a hard sport, one. Too many kids want to do team sports.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you think there's a lack of passion from a lot of coaches these days? In other words, they just kind of worry about themselves or how they look, or maybe just their own children, and they don't share their true love of the game with others the same way they do with their own?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of issues going on. One, the coaching, maybe not as passionate. Two, there's not, I mean, I'll give you an example. I haven't really watched much tennis on TV, and the reason why is because there's not a player that excites me. I can say, wow, I really want to watch him. I mean, there's a few, but not many in the tour right now. The other reason, I think everything's gone up in prices, so I think it's tough for those to get involved in sports, to spend the money on equipment, to go to tournaments, to go to clinics, etc. How do I think that we can improve that? Just by, just letting people know, hey, the game of tennis, you can play it forever. You don't have to be competitive. You can play leagues. You can just do it for fun, for exercise. I think maybe putting less pressure on people, whereas before we used to put pressure on them that you have to be good, you're training for a reason. I think maybe try a different strategy.
So great answers, and we'll leave that. I guess some of my thoughts there are, I think it boils down to family. A lot of the days I feel like families aren't as close as they used to be. I find that the cell phones are given to kids, subconsciously, as a way to, if you believe in the subconscious, as a way to not have to deal with them and so forth. So we've always had a rule in our house. There are no cell phones. There are cell phones, I guess, when you get to be junior, senior in high school, and you've excelled in straight A's and ACT preparation, and we'll talk about that in our camp coming up with other kids besides ours about the importance of college preparation and lack of cell phone usage and video game usage. I think they are beneficial in some ways for rewarding certain behaviors, but not just here you go, you can have it. Mm-hmm. Also, too, I do feel like when I was a child, my father and mother would always have us in clubs. My dad was a doctor in the military. We moved everywhere. And no matter where we moved, we were always right at home because we were always part of a club when we got there. Like Encinitas, Carlsbad, Virginia Beach, we were always part of a club. So tennis is a community in of itself, and I feel like because family and community are being driven apart by these devices, I feel like tennis is part of that. So I feel like what we do, I feel like we try to always keep it like, I hate to say it like this, but like a fraternity in a way. Tennis is a fraternity. It's a fraternal, sororital organization or community, and we try to, I think, make fun, make it a home away from home, and bring passion with it. All right, that brings me into my second question and ending. You mentioned that there isn't a player that excites you per se to get ready for this 2025 Australian Open, which we did, I think, our first ever podcast during COVID, I think, was the Australian. It might have been Wimbledon.
I thought it was Wimbledon.
Anyway, so I felt the same thing. What really bothered me is I was watching Rana Sabalenka, the Belarusian, and Yannick Sinner, the Italian. I was watching them interviewed before, and I didn't have to watch the interview. I just simply turned the channel because I can't really Sabalenka. I like her, I guess, but I can't stand her squealing like a pig. I can't stand to hear her play. And then Yannick Sinner, this is debatable, and let's talk about this in comments. Yannick Sinner was tested positive for doping. I don't care for what reason or how much the amount is. There are so many other players, Halep and so many others. I don't want to get into a long list of names, but there's a ton of them, and all of them were just absolutely nearly, if not, career-ending. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard for me to look at a squealer that sounds like a raccoon that got ran over by a dump truck, but only got his right leg chewed off, and he's. I can't deal with it. But nonetheless, I do feel like there was some favoritism for the light-skinned Italian there. I feel like the Romanian and many others got hosed. Thoughts on that in comments, but I agree with her. I think it's so one-sided in the game for the most part. Just 1, 2, 3 big shot tennis, not a lot of variety. I think the last varietal player per se, unless you can come up with another one, true varietal player, Ashley Barty, in my opinion. Ashley Barty, once she hung it up, I was like, Djokovic, obviously, he's got variety.
Still playing.
Anyway,
it's just hard.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Anyway, we're going to talk to you randomly the next 5 minutes in comments. Leave your comments. What are your thoughts? What do you think about the center, the doping thing in comparison to others? What do you think about the Australian Open tennis moving forward? What are the players that you may or may not like? And is there anybody that excites you? All right? See you soon.